Hey everybody, it's John here from VidGamiac.com. Here we are today back in Wheels of Aurelia doing the Ending C playthrough. This is actually going to be our second playthrough. We will be skipping playthrough B for now. I'll explain why in a later video. But for now, just skip B and make sure you start up a new game. You want a pretty fast car for this, so I recommend picking the third car, which is going to look like this one. Start up the game. You can start in Rome if you really want to, but you can actually skip some if you start in Bracciano. So whatever the case, just drive to the beginning and get to Bracciano. So just drive. You can take part in the conversation if you want to pay attention to the story. But the most important thing is once you get to the first fork, you want to take a right turn. So it's going to come up after the beachfront area right here. You should see the sign. Take a right to go to Bracciano, and that should set you up on the right path. So you're going to meet this one random dude after talking to Olga. He's going to challenge you to a race. Make sure you beat him, and the reason for that is you unlock his car after you beat him, and there's an achievement to unlock all 13 cars. So keep that in mind. The race is pretty hard, especially if this is your first time through. This game has some horrible driving controls and rubber band AI. So my best advice is to use the turns to beat him and use the oncoming traffic in order to build up an advantage. Pretty much run him into open traffic and then pass him up whenever you can on turns. And once you build up a sizable lead, just make sure you keep it and dodge any obstacles while trying to fishtail him into obstacles. As you can see right here, that should slow him down just enough for you to get a sizable lead and just keep the lead for the whole race. Whole race should take about 2 minutes or so, so hopefully you should do this well. If you do mess up, you can always start over, but the most important thing is beating him to unlock that car, because this sports car will be really fast and a good car to use on other races. So once you get to the next town, make sure you go straight to Siena instead of taking that left, and that should put you on the right course. If you take a left, you will lose the race automatically, so keep that in mind. Head straight. Alright, so you get to the next intermission. Make sure you just go through the dialogue. You should win his car, and you are going to get to your first dialogue choice. So for that, just use the right stick to flip through it, just like the regular conversations in the game. And you want to make sure you pick, so do we take that prick's car? And once you have that, that should set you on the right story path, visual novel style. Just get to the end of the scene, and then that should put you back on the road. Alright, so this next part's a little difficult, and it might take you a few tries and a little bit of practice, but as soon as you start this next driving sequence, you'll notice the characters are going to be talking about an orange car. So you want to pay attention to the background and you want to look for it. It should appear right after this turn. It looks kind of like a hatchback, and what you need to do is you need to go up to it and you need to ram it, and that should start a chase scene. So your goal now is to keep this orange car in your screen for the whole driving segment, so until you get to the next town, essentially. So my best advice is to get in front of it and then let it chase you, since it goes at the same speed you are going at your fastest. If it gets in front of you, you need to chase this thing and make sure you don't lose it, and that could be a little difficult since you need to also dodge obstacles. Another bit of advice is to just ignore the story at this point and just focus on your driving. So just play the silent treatment with your friend, and you should be able to get this thing. If it does lag behind, make sure you do donuts and let it catch back up. As you can see right here, it crashed into something, so I'm letting it catch back up, but sadly it got in front of me. So make sure you keep it in your screen, even if it's at the top. Just make sure it's at a point where you can constantly see it, because if it leaves your screen, the driver will get away, and that will cause the story to diverge in a different area that we don't want. So right after you pass the first hitchhiker, the car should speed away up to a point where you can't catch back up to it. So that's your cue to just finish the course. So just drive up to the next town, and that should cause the next scene to happen where you run into him and you go through this conversation piece. Just hold A to get through this. The dude should get arrested or something, and that should cause the ending to appear. So after all that, you should be on your way to another set of end credits, and more importantly, the next achievement, which is to get ending C. So there it is, and there is the achievement once the credits start rolling. 15 gamer score, and that's all there is to it.